They called him Baba Ojo, the man with the miracle water. His small, unassuming shrine sat at the very edge of Ayatoro village, tucked away behind a grove of banana trees. A faint, constant hum of flies hung in the air, but strangely, they never seemed to land on him. People came from all over, a constant stream of hope and desperation. They brought sick children with feverish brows, tired elders whose bodies had begun to fail them, and even bottles of ordinary well water, hoping for his blessing. The story that followed him was deceptively simple. One single drop from Baba Ojo's sacred calabash could cure anything. It didn't matter what the ailment was, a persistent cough, the slow creep of blindness, even the chaotic grip of madness. Those who drank his water all described the same sensation afterward. They felt light, as if some immense, unseen burden had been lifted from their shoulders. And so, they came in droves. The line to his shrine was a portrait of society itself. Powerful politicians, influential pastors, and even respected doctors would arrive quietly under the cover of night, seeking the same relief as the common villagers. The people of Ayatoro didn't question it. To them, Baba Ojo wasn't just a healer, he was a living, breathing mystery that simply worked. But in a world of wonders, there is always room for doubt. Adaeze, a sharp, young journalist from the bustling city of Lagos, first heard about the miracle water while chasing an entirely different story. She couldn't help but laugh when her cameraman mentioned it. Water that heals? Seriously? In this century? Come on, let's go and see this for ourselves. When they arrived, the atmosphere at Baba Ojo's shrine was surprisingly calm. He sat cross-legged on a simple mat, his neck adorned with white beads, and a clay pot rested beside him, filled with clear, shimmering water. His eyes were what struck Adaze first. They were sharp, incredibly sharp, far too alert for a man of his apparent age. Before she could even utter her name or state her purpose, he spoke, his voice low and steady. "You have come to doubt what you don't understand." Adaeze, caught off guard, composed herself and offered a polite, professional smile. "I came to ask questions, Baba. The people say your water has healing powers. I just want to understand how." He simply gestured towards the pot. "You want to know? Drink." Adaze hesitated. Her journalistic instincts screamed at her. The water looked clean, almost unnaturally so. "No, thank you, Baba. I'm fine." He let out a soft chuckle that seemed to echo in the quiet space. "No, you are not. You carry many wounds, but not all wounds bleed." His words unsettled her, hitting closer to home than she was comfortable with. She quickly changed the subject, pushing him for details about his process, the source of the water, the secret behind its power. But Baba Ojo only smiled, his gaze unwavering. "The water flows from truth," he said cryptically, "and truth heals all things." That evening, as Adaze interviewed the villagers, she began to hear conflicting stories. The tales of miracles were abundant. One woman swore her husband, paralyzed for years, stood up and walked just moments after drinking the water. Another tearfully recounted how her son's raging fever vanished in an instant. But then, a few people, in hushed tones, whispered something different. They spoke of a change that came over those who took too much of the water. "How do they change?" Adaeze pressed, leaning in closer. An old man, his face a road map of wrinkles, glanced around nervously before speaking. "They start to talk like him," he said, his voice barely audible. "Their voices, they slow down. Their eyes, they get this shine, like polished glass." The more she heard, the deeper the mystery became. Later that night, driven by a need for concrete evidence, Adaze returned to the shrine alone. She planned to sneak a small sample of the water for lab testing. The compound was deserted, bathed in the pale glow of the moon, which glinted off the surface of the water in the clay pot. She carefully dipped a small vial into it, but as she pulled it out, a distinct ripple moved across the water's surface, even though the air was perfectly still. Then, a voice cut through the silence from directly behind her. "Curiosity is a kind of thirst, too." She spun around, her heart pounding. Baba Ojo stood there, his hands folded, his expression impossibly calm. In the dim light, his eyes seemed to possess a faint, ethereal glow. "What are you hiding?" she demanded, her voice trembling slightly. He took a slow step closer, a gentle, almost sad smile playing on his lips. I hide nothing. The water is life itself. But life, my child, has a price. Those who drink are cleansed of their pain, but pain is a fundamental part of being human. When I take their pain away, I take a piece of what makes them. Adaze froze, the vial suddenly feeling heavy in her hand. The implications of his words began to dawn on her. You mean, she started, but he interrupted her, his voice soft but firm. They heal, he said, but they stop feeling. They become quiet inside. Peaceful, yes, but hollow. The world looks at this and calls it a miracle. I call it mercy. The silence that followed was heavier than any sound. The next morning, Adaze left Ayatoro. She sent her sample to a trusted lab, but never received the results. The case file simply vanished. The analyst who had been working on it stopped responding to her calls and emails. When she tried to drive back to the village a few weeks later, she was met with an impossible sight. The road was gone. Not closed, not overgrown. It was literally gone, as if swallowed whole by the surrounding bush, leaving no trace it ever existed. When she asked people in the next town over about Ayatoro or a healer named Baba Ojo, they just stared at her with blank confusion. Months later, Adaze published a short, obscure article she titled "The Man Who Sold Silence." It didn't go viral or win any awards, but the few who read it never forgot the haunting last line. I didn't drink the water that day, but sometimes when I wake at night, I taste it in my mouth, clean, cool, and too calm. And far away, in a quiet, forgotten town, an old man sat beside a clay pot filled with still, shimmering water. He whispered softly into the night, "Truth heals all things." The surface of the water rippled once, as if in silent agreement, as if the water itself was listening. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think Baba Ojo's water really was? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories that explore the line between miracle and mystery, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one.